Cool. Ready to rock?
Let's go.
3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Roz Slaughter here from FitnessBusinessMastery.com. I'm here with my good friend Darren Casey. Darren is the man that's making it happen. Big things he's been doing in his career. I'm excited for this interview because we're going to dive into Darren's business. He's going to tell you a little bit about his backstory, but more importantly, how this man has created a business through intention. He's not doing the crazy 18-hour hustles. He's a fit pro. He's helping people get healthy, fit, but also grow and scale their business. Darren, welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, pleasure to be here. Always love being around your good vibes and good energy.
Awesome, man. Well, I know for Fitness Business Mastery, a lot of people are new to personal training, entrepreneurship. Why don't you share briefly a little bit about your backstory, how'd you get into this business, and we'll go into a little bit more about what you do and how you serve.
Yeah, so my background, I guess, right from the start, when I was about 10 years old, I watched the movie The Karate Kid, and I was like, yeah, something lit a fire in me, and I was like, man, I want to be the Karate Kid. So I think I was 9 years old. So when I was 10 years old, my local karate club had an age limit where we could start at 10. So my dad took me down to my local karate club, and as I say, then I kind of developed a discipline and a commitment to kind of achieving a goal, right? So 2 years later, I went through my gradings. I got to the green belt, which means I could compete. So my first competition, I won all 8 fights, and I became, the first version of that vision which I had, which was, being the Karate Kid. So from there, that was like my background in sports, which kind of got me inspired. At that time, of course, I didn't realize that I was acquiring discipline and, a certain mental framework, which turned me into a winner, really. I was just having fun, and I had this dream that I wanted to be the Karate Kid. So that was like my initial background, and that led me through high school. I was naturally good at sports and things like that, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I kind of, saw life quite differently to everybody else. I didn't really want to get a job. I didn't really want to have this routine that I knew what I was doing with my life every day, and I kind of plan it out. So I was trying to figure that out, really. And then I kind of fell into becoming a sports therapist, right? Sports rehab. I did my diploma in college in sports rehab. And I realized that I didn't want to go to uni and be a physiotherapist. It was kind of a boring existence in my perspective of what life should be like. The same routine of going to a treatment room and being in a cubicle, really, seeing clients. And I was like, man, that's not for me. So what else do I want to do? And as part of the certifications of being a sports therapist, we dived into obviously exercise science and physiology, and I got certifications in fitness, being a fitness pro, and the basic foundations of how all that works. So then I applied to my local health club, right, to be a trainer. Didn't have any experience, so I volunteered for 2 months. It says, I want to come in, get some experience, and within 8 weeks they offered me a job. So through that time, over the next 2 years, I just kept studying and getting more qualifications, more experience. Then I realized pretty quickly that I could take on a couple of personal training clients. I was like, hey, this is good. The money's a lot better. Within 2 clients, I can earn what I was earning in a day in the gym. So at 19 years old, I set up my own personal training business, and I was there for 9 years. Growing my business and selling out all my sessions, and at that time not really understanding what I was doing, which was again hustling my life away. Really, I was earning good money, but I was exchanging 6 days of my week in the gym and having 1 day off and going a bit crazy, going out partying, going out spending all my money on all this fancy stuff that I didn't need because I was successful, right? But I didn't feel successful. I was like, man, is this life? Is this what life's about? So 26, 27, I went out to the States. I saw stuff online that I've been looking at for years, with Ryan Lee and Ray Ballantyne and all these guys. And I was like, man, I want to do this, but I didn't really have the capacity to implement anything. I was just too busy and mentally exhausted, and I got confused, and I was too ignorant to get help. I thought I could do it all myself.
Absolutely.
So long story short, I kind of, certain things happened in my personal life, became single, and my dad got a terminal illness, and all these things put life into perspective for me. And I was like, what am I scared of? I'm not going to die. Let's just go and do what I want to do. So I went out to the States, learned how to set up a boot camp business, and then came back and I set up a 6-location bootcamp business. You know, like you said there, literally in the trenches, 6 days a week, learning how the hell all this stuff works. And guess what? I became a hustler. I was hustling my life away again. I was like, fucking hell, I'm in the same position now. I was supposed to have 20 boot camps, and you know, everybody was running these boot camps for me, and I could have a cup of tea and a biscuit and enjoy life. But that's not what happened, right? So then I actually realized I had to commit myself to learn how to market myself, to dive into my mindset, to learn where my toxic belief systems were, you know, that weren't serving me, and really work on myself. I was looking at acquiring all these things, right? All these strategies, techniques, and all this, and I didn't really acquire the awareness to focus on me and turn myself into something of high value. So like we discussed just before this call, I then understood the importance of personal development, hiring mentors, being in the environments where people were winning and helping me grow, and moving myself away from people and environments that wasn't serving me. So through that kind of journey, through screwing it all up many times over and figuring it out, I launched my own online program, and I became the highest price coach on the planet. Now, $12,000 to $30,000, selling 12-week packages. Through that process over the last 4 years, you know, I made all the mistakes, paid everybody all the money, and like we discussed just before this call, figured out a lot of the bullshit, figured out a lot of the incongruency. There's a lot of people out there who've never even had a fitness business. They were just the marketing, and I was like, fucking hell, I know more than you, and I'm paying you 40 grand to learn something from you. How's this working? So basically, like we discussed just before this call, we, I guess, had to pull all these different pieces of the puzzle together because we became masters at various areas, and then we created our own version of how to win, right? So that's similar to, you know, what you've described just before we jumped on this call, really. So that's the short story.
Awesome. Well, you know, I love it because that story, people probably listening and saying, wow, you know, you're super successful. You became this high price trainer and all. But what I want them to take from that is that you had to go through your own journey. And as an entrepreneur, fitness business owner, personal trainer, coach, we all have our journeys. And that journey is going to be riddled with setbacks, comebacks, and more importantly, lessons that you have to learn. And as we were sharing, you know, there are a lot of people out here that are jumping into the fitness industry saying, I'm a guru, I'm a coach, I can teach you how to do X, Y, and Z, and never have done it. And that's one of the things that I like to shed light on. It's why I connect with your content so much, because you have done it. I've watched you do it, and we've grown together and become good friends. Man, tell me, like, you talk about success, which I love, personal growth, success, routines. What would you say if someone's a personal trainer and they should have a routine? What's your routine like daily? What do you do in the morning to get yourself fired up so you can produce like a rock star?
Yeah, so I guess what I learned really quick was that there was only a couple of things each day that were actually giving me the biggest impact in my day, right? So one of the areas that I do need to improve upon is discipline in certain areas. So the first thing is having the awareness to understand where you're doing well and where you're not doing well, and then where you need support. So secondly, I have a framework, a structure that I know as long as I get these 2 or 3 things done in the day, I'm in expansion, right? And then the other thing to align with that is always ensure that those things in your business and in your professional life align with your personal life and what's important to you. So for me, it doesn't matter how much more money I can make. It doesn't matter how much more, you know, celebrity exposure I can get and all this stuff, right? If it takes away from what's important to me, which is my freedom of choices, to be in control of my day. So my typical day, just to give you a snapshot. So typically this month I've been traveling a lot, so my routine's a little bit different, but typically I get up early. I spend the first 2 hours of my day focusing on something that's going to increase my income or impact in my business. That might be producing some content. It might be sharpening up an opportunity to get people to take a bigger action who've been going through my content, who've not made an action. Or it might be developing a relationship, right? Developing a relationship. So those 3 things typically for me are what puts money in my bank account and leverages me the time and capacity over the day to enjoy life. And that's a really big one for me. My values, which is something I wasn't aware of, my values really are all about capturing experiences every day that used to pass me by when I was in the gym hustling away. So, for example, I go out on my motorbike, I've got 2 dogs and we go for walks. I spend a lot of time with my girlfriend. I like to be outside in the mountains in nice weather. The sun's out today in Manchester, but it's fucking cold here. So after 2 or 3 weeks of being in here, we usually go off for a month, Spain, Portugal, Mallorca, somewhere like that. And I do what I do in Manchester in the cold, and I do that in a nicer environment. And that for me is what my biggest value is, which is really having the control to make a decision. If I want to do something, I can do it. If I want to go and watch a movie today, I can do it. It's not about Ferraris and yachts, right? It's just about simply midday. If I want to go and take the dog for a walk for 30 minutes in the hills, let's go and do that.
Awesome, brother. Well, I mean, I talk a lot about creating a lifestyle fitness business, and a lot of people who are following me and learning from the content that I create, it really comes down to them understanding what you just said there, setting a routine, understanding specifically what are the things that generate income and what are the things that actually they get energy from. I love it. One of the things for me is, like, I'm a big fan of Garrett J. White, which I know he was one of your entrepreneurs that you had on your magazine. He was the most coveted red issue. I embody being balanced in your business. And I really focus on that in the morning, routines of meditation, greens drink, working out, getting that done before I start my hustle so that I have invested in myself. For some people, we might have personal trainers on here and they are just like, you know what, how do I make that leap? How do I take that next step? What are 1 or 2 tips that you could share with someone that they can go and say, you know what, this has been time well spent watching this interview with Darren and Roz. What would I do to get out of the grind and make that next step to creating the life I want?
It's a really good question. And I think where I'm at right now in life, how I'm seeing this, it might change. But from what I've experienced, how to get the biggest impact immediately is all on the side of making a decision. Now, most people don't make decisions. They'll procrastinate and they'll find reasons to occupy themselves so they don't have to become aware of a decision that you have to make. Now, that decision could be in relationships, in your job, in your professional life, in what to stop doing or what to start doing. So a lot of people fill out go through my content, fill out my forms, my applications, and they mentally masturbate themselves around how great life could be. And then they make no decision. And 6 months later, 12 months later, 2 years later, they're still looking at all the free stuff. They're still consuming everybody's content. They've not made a decision. And they're scared of failing. So you mentioned it before about risk. A lot of fit pros collect certifications and they say that they're an entrepreneur and they've not made a risk yet. So something which you're really good at, you'll take a lot of risks, and you probably look at life very similar to me. Now, I don't see this as a risk. Unless I'm going to die, it's not really a risk. It's basically an opportunity to learn what doesn't work. That's it.
Absolutely.
So there are no such things as risks. So I would say make a decision on what you want to do with your life. I'm trying to get out of this sunshine here. 1 second.
No worries. I see you.
Yeah, make a decision on what you want to do with your life. So we have to create the space to have that honest conversation with us about what the hell does life look like? Or are we actually committed to somebody else's version of success? And then secondly, what decisions are we going to make today? Not tomorrow, not next week. What decisions? Because we have to make drastically different decisions. So for me, I gave all my bootcamp customers, all my personal training customers 6 weeks notice. I made a decision and I said, guys, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm launching my online programs. Go over here to learn more about that. 6 weeks time. That's it. Doors are closed. And that gave me a big weight off my shoulder. It was scary. I had a lot of fear there, but I knew that on the other side of a decision were results. So that would be the biggest thing that I could say right now. Make the decision and understand and be honest with yourself about what you really want, so you can get the support from guys like you and, like you say, start to acquire the skill sets to become a master at acquiring what you want.
Awesome, man. I agree with you on that. When I decided to walk away and decide that I was not going to train, I had a big fear that my business was going to crash and burn, that people only wanted to train with me. and which led me to decide to create systems in my business that allowed me to be duplicatable and create leverage. And I know that any successful entrepreneur, and you've had your hands in speaking with a lot and learning from a lot, what are some of the core systems? Because people talk about systems all the time. Oh, systems says you need to systemize. What the hell do they actually mean when it comes to personal training, maybe online or offline? What do you take? What's your take on that?
Yeah, man, it's so important. What you have to look at is reverse engineering certainty in your programs for your clients, and looking at when they come in this front door here, what does the destination look like? How can I develop that path to certainty with my clients? Now, most people are winging it as they go through it. They kind of trying things out, and they kind of go from week to week. They kind of guesstimating what to do next. So there's a lack of certainty there. So because of the lack of certainty there, people never get to the stage where they're putting this process down. And then they actually, then it helps them dial this process in every year. 4 years ago, I launched my version of the rapid method. And now, even now, every single time I run it with every client, it gets a little tweak. It gets a little bit better. It gets a little bit sharper in places. There's things that I learn, how to support people in different ways. But unless you've got this roadmap down for your clients to develop certainty with their outcomes, it's hard for you to get that real world feedback on how to improve upon that process. And that makes your life much easier. And then secondly, I would say in terms of systems, I'd say getting the support to have the awareness and where the holes are in all areas of your life. Because once we're looking at certain things in our business and our lifestyle through a certain lens, right, we're not aware of the different perspectives on how we should observe things through. For example, people might say, how much do you charge and how much do you charge? And when you suddenly say, it doesn't really matter what anybody else is doing, what's possible for you, and what are your beliefs and what are your worths in terms of what you perceive your value to be. And most fit pros tell me that they help people lose weight and they help people get strong and they help people build muscle. And it's like, that's not what you're actually doing unless you're doing what everybody else is and winging it, right? You're actually giving people access to a version of life that they can't access by themselves. When you start explaining to people what that experience is like, suddenly you're raising your value in your opportunity in your programs. And like you say, so man, we could do an hour's video just on that thing there. So in terms of systems, developing a process of certainty in your programs and actually tracking what the hell you're doing in your business in your day.
Absolutely.
I would say that.
Great stuff, man. I love that you said that, because I think a lot of people that I speak to, personal trainers, even studio owners who are been in the business for years, don't know what the hell they actually specialize in doing. And when I decided to change my business and my personal training business, I only service women. I specialize in women entering into perimenopause, postmenopause. I became the menopause specialist. And what that allowed me to do was not only dial my marketing in, but my message. And when my message was dialed in, it allowed me to attract the people who had the pain that I had the solution for. And if you're watching this, I really want you guys to hear that, because that all led me to, and the reason I was excited to talk to Darren today, he has a program called the Signature System, and it's what I believe in. Every personal training business, personal trainer online, if you don't have a system that's yours, your proprietary blend or brand, then you're just like everyone else. You're vanilla. Oh, I'm a fat loss expert. I'm a transformation expert. What the hell is that? That means that you're a personal trainer that doesn't know who you actually serve.
Yeah. You're like everybody else. Man, you've nailed it right there with that one breath. If all that anybody ever gets in their professional career is what you just said there, then they're gonna make their life 100 times easier and save themselves so much fucking around. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely, man. A lot of people talk about, like, you got a niche. You just got to become better at what you do in your market. I mean, there are a lot of trainers that I want to be worldwide. You don't need to do that. You can become really well in the celebrity in your local area and do it better than anybody else, and you'll have more than abundant of clients and business. Wouldn't you agree?
You don't need many clients to transform your income. When you're specializing and you've got a proprietary system, or like you say, the signature system as we call it, it doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much reach as you think to basically set you up for many, many years. With with my rapid method program, I'd only ever, for the most part, work with 4 clients a month. When I first started off, I had 16 clients a month. I kept increasing my prices, taking it, doubling my prices, working with 8 clients, doubling my prices, working with 4 clients. Now I only work with 1 client a month if I kind of, just because I love it, right? Just because I just enjoy helping people and I just want to keep the process really, really sharp. But you don't need to work with that many people. There's over 3 billion people on the internet, I think now. How many clients do you need, And we don't need $1 million to live like a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I don't generate tens of millions of pounds, although I'm going to get close next year to those kinds of numbers. But man, you don't need a lot of money to live total freedom, as much as what you think.
Absolutely. I love that you said that, because a lot of the people that maybe, online, and we talked about, a lot of people are faking the funk and they're saying, oh, you got to make 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures to live the lifestyle. And you said it earlier, just got to have more self-awareness about exactly what is success for you. Let's talk about success, because for me, I know for success for me is that I don't need to have a Ferrari and 10 houses. For me, I'm not looking to go and have selfies with me in front of a Lamborghini. I just want to have a happy family, be able to do what I want, when I want. Most importantly, be able to kind of take care and support my family and make an impact. What does success mean to you and some of the people that you teach?
Yeah, it's a great question, great discussion this. And my version of success has changed quite a bit. I say over the last 12 to 24 months, it used to be having the Audi R8, having the $1 million house, having all this nice stuff, having the Rolex watch. As you can see, I don't wear a watch. Having all this stuff, right? So for me, it was because that represented success. It actually wasn't my version of success. So what I actually realized was, man, what is success for me? And my success for me is grabbing my laptop. I have good stuff. So, stuff that I use every day. I have the best of things. If it's a bag, if it's, my glasses, if it's a toothbrush. So I apply standards in certain areas of my life, of high standards. And then I actually realized that portraying success with the Audi R8 and all this stuff, it really didn't fulfill me, really didn't represent really what was important to me. So instead, I'll invest that money, that cash flow into my business, which then pays for a villa in Portugal for the month while I enjoy life with my girlfriend. And if we don't want to come back for 2 more weeks, we won't do. Freedom. So I bought a motorbike. I took my motorbike license to get out and just have that hobby, that interest outside of work, which aligns with being free and going out into the countryside and things like that. So I'll invest my money into certain things which give me the experiences that I want. That's my versions of success, really. And then secondly, helping those around me to do the same, helping those around me to win, whether that's friends, clients, family members. So that's really where, and on the other area of that, the compounding area of that, I'm not acquiring things which are amplifying my states of stress and pressure. So that basically means if I have a 2-3 months in business where I'm not generating the income that I am expecting, it doesn't really matter. I've not got these 10 grand a month bill to pay for a $1 million house, all this stuff, right? It's cool. I might be in the mountains in a log cabin in France and I'll just be thinking, okay, let's get this show on the road and let's keep pushing. Mm-hmm. So they're the kind of things which align with me. I do very well in business and I produce a lot of income and a lot of impact, but not at the consequence of all the things I've described, which is working like a dog, acquiring all this stuff which keeps me in a state of stress and doesn't really align with what's important to me, which is freedom and being in control of my day.
Awesome, man. I love that. I mean, those are just such great tips for success. A lot of, what we see out here online is kind of crazy today. And we need more entrepreneurs and business owners like yourself who are sharing that message of just create your life. And I love what you just said there, acquiring things that add stress. Like we all can fake the funk and have a big house that has a mortgage that's, over our heads. And then if we don't keep producing at that level, we lose it or feel like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack at 40, 35, whatever. So that's exactly what I would love for more fitness professionals to understand, to design your life with intention, understand that you don't need to acquire more stress. You need to acquire things that allow you to create experiences like Darren was just saying there. So Darren, I mean, I love that. Can we just talk a little bit about Fit Entrepreneur Magazine? I think that a lot of people really, this is some content, a resource that I'd love for more people to learn about. Tell us, what was the inspiration behind creating this magazine?
Yeah, so it's a good one. So Fit Entrepreneur Magazine, the industry that I was coaching clients in, right? Busy business owners, busy entrepreneurs, high-level producers in their business. They were suffering various toxic belief systems about success or things like that, acquiring all this stuff, all this, pressure and noise, as they call it, because that's what society tells you, that you're successful. But then they've got a failed body. A lot of these guys are strangers to their families and they've not got good connections, bad relationships, and they just feel lonely and unfulfilled for the most part, which is why they occupy themselves so much in making money, because it gratifies them and they feel the man, right? So I was looking at, well, for that big industry, they need a culture change. How can I instigate a culture change, which is fuck the hustle and grind, working 24/7, sleep when you're dead and all this stuff. But they all 40-year-old men look like 65-year-old men who are about to die. And a lot of them, that's 680,000 of them a year in America die of a heart attack. And that's just one of the things. So I had to acquire some certainty and some support and some evidence way beyond my current capacity or my environment of expertise and credentials. So I started interviewing guys like Garrett White and all these, not going on, I did have them all up here, all these guys who were killing it, not just in business, but in their relationships, in their health, and actually was the opposite of grinding 24/7 until you die, right? So I then started to give evidence and examples of how this doesn't have to be the way and the consequences of that. So guys like Alex Sharfen, really, really smart, switched on guy. He coached billionaires and he saw this trend in himself and in all the guys who he was working with. So then I was getting context and wisdom from all these real smart guys, Jesse Itzler, billionaire, all these guys. So I was collecting a lot of wisdom and reinforcing my own message, really. But more importantly, people who was consuming this content then started to raise their values and their standards, getting them closer to where mine was, so I could then start to serve and help them, because I was reinforcing a belief system which, there's a big difference in what I saw and what I believed these guys needed to do and what they believed they needed to do. They wanted to spend 40 grand on a watch because they've been working hard this month and they wanted to reward themselves, but they wouldn't invest in my services because it was expensive. So this is how I developed a culture change with Fit Entrepreneur Magazine, to kind of attempt at changing that belief system in the marketplace. And it's had some good impact. And we're about to do the same for the fitness industry with the Fit Entourage Magazine. So it's a similar name, but we're just going to apply that to the fitness industry now. We'll get you in that one as well.
I'd love to be. Thank you, man. So real quick, I want to do what I call my rapid 5 questions. Really just 5 questions that you can just answer off the top of your head real quickly. We'll go through these and then we'll kind of land this plane. I know that this has been a lot of nuggets in here, and I want people to be able to, take this time and invest it in learning and then being able to implement right away. So, Darren, if you had to share with us your favorite business book, what is it?
The One Thing.
One Thing.
The book called The One Thing. Can't remember the guy who, is it Gary Keller or something? Think of it. Oh, there he is. Gary Keller, The One Thing.
Great book, absolutely.
I started collecting all these books, and what I realized was there's only 1 or 2 books that I needed to read over and over again that are going to actually make a difference. All this other stuff at different times in my life might apply to me more. So that's one thing that I do. One thing, consume it now and fucking do it. Stop reading all this stuff and thinking, what the hell do I do? The One Thing, I would recommend that book.
Awesome, awesome. Who's made the biggest impact on your business? A mentor, a coach? Who would you say that's been?
Good question. Mentor, coach, biggest impact. Very good question. I've studied from a lot of different people and got different things at different times. Man, that stumped me. Never thought about that before. So I would say it might actually be a corny answer, this one, but through growing up, through, taking martial arts and watching the Karate Kid and stuff, I didn't realize at the time that my dad was my biggest mentor, right? So he developed a belief system in me, which was, you've got 2 arms and 2 legs like everybody else. You can go out there and that trophy, that first place trophy is yours, right? I became 11 times British karate champion, and I was always fighting guys a lot bigger than me and a lot stronger, but for some reason, I believed I could beat them. So my dad at a young age developed a belief system in me that you've got 2 arms and 2 legs like everybody else. There's no reason why you can't win. Doesn't matter, the bigger, stronger, uglier, faster, whatever it is, right? You can go out there and win and compete. And then secondly, through him going through a terminal illness when he was 47, 48 years old, he got told he had 2 years to live, he had a lung disease. Through watching him go through that, that time, keeping a strong state of mind and being never complaining, getting on with it, and then obviously passing away, that really instilled in me a level of urgency in my life, which I've described before, which was lives passing you by every single day. And I want to capture those experiences that I otherwise would have missed out on. So at that time, I kind of missed those lessons, but now in hindsight, as I've developed myself in all these ways, like you said there, developing that level of awareness and actually stopping to taking those lessons, I think my dad was the biggest mentor in me, because it created an urgency in me that there is no fucking risk to take. You're not going to die. Go and do it.
Awesome, man. That is great, and I think that's the best. Best place to travel that you've traveled?
Man, I've been all over. So San Diego, I really love the culture, the community, the entrepreneurial vibe, the mindset. Everybody's like spiritually, mentally, and physically like balanced, right? But where I want to live, so there's a place in Mallorca which we've just been to. We've been there twice this year. I love the mountains in Mallorca. Go out there if you want to travel. And we also love Portugal. Very, very clean. There's a place called Vila Moura. Portugal and Mallorca right now are my 2 favorite places.
Awesome. Beer, whiskey, or wine, which is your favorite?
Red wine.
Red wine. Awesome. And that's awesome. One word to describe Darren Casey.
One word to describe Darren Casey. A winner.
I love it. That's it. Mindset, people. That's what it's all about. I just watched a movie with my wife, I Am Ali, and I love Muhammad Ali. He's one of my mentors, inspirations, everything. And he said that, he had to say that he was the greatest long before anyone else actually said it. And I think that the reason that Darren is successful, he's a winner, and it's because he understands that it's the 6 inches between your ears that will dictate your success or failure. And you have to be willing to take the risk to actually grow enough to become everything that you want to become. Darren, I really appreciate your time. But if someone wanted to, learn more about your signature system, learn more about, your magazines, where would they find this information, my friend?
Yeah, man, they can go to coachdarrencasey.com. That's like a pit stop for my world with, the Rapid Method, the magazine, and the Fit Pro Entourage community. Fit Pros watching this, feel free to go to fitproentourage.com. There's tons of free content on there. You can watch the web class, learn about having a signature system, see if it aligns with, what you want to kind of work on right now, and go and take a look.
Absolutely. Darren, thank you so much for your time, my friend. As always, we really look forward to bringing in amazing people on the fitnessbusinessmastery.com blog. I'm Coach Roz Slaughter. I'll see you guys all soon on the next one. Have a great day.